Good afternoon, you're on to NTA Nationwide. My name is Femi Johnson. Thanks for joining us. The Controller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, Hamid Ali, has appeared before the Senate in Mufti, adding that no law in the land compels him to wear uniform. After his brief but controversial appearance, the Senate asked the Controller General to leave as his appearance was contrary to resolution of the Senate, which asked him to wear uniform and brief them over the now suspended policy on duty payment. The senators insisted that he must appear before them in plenary in uniform next Wednesday. We shall bring you details in a subsequent bulletin. Federal Executive Council has approved the establishment of the Nigerian Industrial Policy and Competitiveness Advising Council in furtherance of the nation's Industrial Revolution Plan. Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment announced this while briefing newsmen after the council's meeting. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo also reports that a draft bill for an act to provide a legal disease control and prevention center has also been approved.
Presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari for the first time since returning from his vacation in London, the Federal Executive Council meeting considered and approved the memo for the establishment of the Industrial Advisory Council. To be chaired by Vice President Yemi Oshimbaju, the Council has, among other objectives, of assisting the government in formulating policies and strategies that will enhance the performance of the nation's industrial sector. Industry, Trade and Investment Minister Okechukwu Enelama said the high-powered advisory council is a critical pathway towards achieving the desired industrialization as one of the key pillars of the National Economic Recovery and Growth Plan.
There is an increasing body of evidence that when government partners with the private sector, it's not either or, that you get better results. What we're doing here is to make sure that this government has a council at the highest level for interacting with industrialists and the private sector. And it clearly will build on whatever has been done. We are taking away from what we've done in the past. In the present, that engagement is needed, and we have the council for doing it, to work together to make sure we achieve our industrialization goals. And I think you'll see better results going forward.
I don't think anybody can give us one example of a purely 100% government enterprise that has succeeded better than partnership with the private sector. Even in the First Republic, the companies you're talking about, either the textile mills or the cocoa industry or Nigerite, it was partnership between the government and the private sector. But most importantly was that what drove this was the provision of infrastructure, power, water, roads, and the continuous engagement between the government and the private sector.
The Federal Executive Council also approved a draft bill for an act to provide a legal framework for Nigeria's Center for Disease Control and Prevention. This, according to the Minister of Health, Professor Isaac Adewole, is a conscious decision towards moving forward the nation's agenda for public health intervention.
Our Center for Disease Control is a frontline agency that has been recognized internationally. It has been designated as the Regional Center for Disease Control in West Africa. It has also been designated as the Regional Center for the African Center for Disease Control and Prevention. What we have done today is to provide the legal framework for this agency so that it can validly perform the role that is expected of such a frontline intervention agency. It is patterned after the United States Center for Disease Control and Prevention, which was established in 1946. So the whole concept is not new. What is new is that we decided to move ahead with it in Nigeria.
Established since 2012, the center constituted a major force in combating the outbreak of Ebola virus disease as well as Lassa fever in different parts of the country. Also at Wednesday's meeting, Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed briefed the council on Nigeria's plan to bid for the hosting of the World Congress of the International Press Institute in 2018. Meanwhile, the Minister of State for Aviation, Hadi Sirika, is appreciating Nigerians, especially air travelers and carriers, for their understanding and cooperation so far in respect of the relocation of services from the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, to Kaduna International Airport due to ongoing repair works.
We are into negotiations with other airlines, Nigerian carriers, and that we will be able to go into London and Kaduna daily, just like the British Airways was doing in Abuja. Everything that the federal government of Nigeria ought to provide in Kaduna has been provided. So therefore, operations into and out of Kaduna is safe, secure, and of course efficient.
The minister assured Nigerians that the government will keep to its promise of restoring flight operations in Abuja in the next 5 weeks. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
In another development, the House of Representatives has passed for a second reading a bill for an act to amend the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission Act, which seeks, among others, to establish the Economic and Financial Crimes Court and to increase jail term for offenders from 2 to not less than 20 years. National Assembly correspondent Ignacio Zunko has more.
Since the establishment of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission as Nigeria's anti-graft agency, the Commission has been faced with some challenges, such as delay in prosecution and operational autonomy. Poised to address some of these bottlenecks, the House of Representatives has now embarked on the amendment of EFCC Act, sponsored by Representative Basi Ewa and 3 other members.
The amendment seeks to strengthen the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission by establishing the more stringent ways of removing members and chairman of the commission. That special court will be subordinate to the High Court.
So you now see how you will have lengthened the anti-corruption trial.
For us to create another court for the EFCC, Mr. Speaker, we should rethink over it.
There is no need for us to create a court that will specifically deal with economic and financial crimes.
The issue of lack of access to electricity by majority of rural dwellers in Nigeria engaged members as they implored the federal government to ensure that every local government area is connected to the national grid so as to save them the dangers of receiving incidents of kerosene explosion and reduce the price. Moved by Representatives Awaji Inombek Abiente from Bayelsa State and Representative Abo Dennis Nnamdi from Enugu State. The poor state of the Cottage Hospital in Gulak and General Hospital Michika in Adamawa State came on the floor as members urged the federal government to rehabilitate these medical facilities for the healthcare of returning internally displaced persons. Moved by Representative Adamu Kamale from the state.
Observe that those 2 health facilities lack the resources and equipment to treat the large number of casualties from the attacks.
The need to reconstitute the Investment and Securities Tribunal was adopted, moved by Representative Yusuf Tajuddin from Kogi State. It also urged the federal government to address the hazardous black soot in Port Harcourt, River State, moved by Representative Chidi Wihioka from River State. The House has passed at first reading a bill for an act to establish the National Poverty Eradication Commission. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
And to education, as the Joint Admission Matriculation Board, JAMB, warms up for the conduct of the 2017 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. The board says candidates awaiting results are eligible to write the examination, but the board will not confirm any admission awaiting results. JAMB's Head of Public Affairs, Dr. Fabian Benjamin, stated this at a press briefing in Abuja. Let's join Franca Uzoma Olua for details.
Every year, more than 1.5 million candidates write the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, UTME, but less than 50% are admitted into Nigerian tertiary education institutions. However, JAMB says majority of these candidates are not qualified.
We don't want to be doing admission for candidates that are not qualified to be admitted. It's a waste of resources. It distorts our data. We discover over time that most of the time when these candidates are admitted, they don't meet the requirements. So we want to be sure who we are actually admitting into the tertiary education, so that at the end of the day, if we say 3,000 students are admitted in University A, our data will actually reflect 3,000 candidates.
Similarly, candidates are to upload their O-level results on JAMB website before the conduct of admissions.
We expect that by August, any candidate that does not have result or his or her result uploaded by August is not eligible for admission.
More than 1.8 million candidates, both direct and indirect entries, are expected to write the 2017 UTME. Franca Uzoma Olua, NTA News.
The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps has deployed 510 officers, 200 sniffer dogs, and state-of-the-art vehicles on Kaduna-Abuja Road as part of efforts to ensure safety of lives and property of persons plying the route. Commandant General of the Corps, Abdullahi Ghana Mohammed, who made this known in Abuja, also reiterated the need for inter-agency synergy for effectiveness. Lydia Sampson has the report.
It is usually serious business here.
I've deployed about 510 of my staff. I've deployed 200 dogs. I've deployed about 40 vehicles with the 5 million I brought for this operation.
Today, however, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps is providing its officers house renovation loan in partnership with a mortgage outfit. And though they are not celebrating owning the houses, the officers say for them, the renovation loan is a good beginning.
It would have looked awkward if it is only the men that receive the check today. So I am proud of the women folks. And I know that for me to have been part of the beneficiaries today, all the ladies should not be afraid. I feel great, I feel happy.
The commandant in charge of housing, Kingsley Obuntuashe, says it is the Corps' way of enabling officers get loans without equity contribution, which many cannot afford. For the Commandant General, Abdullahi Ghana Muhammadu, this gesture is in line with his promise of prioritizing staff welfare.
The programs I have is staff welfare, and housing is inclusive. It begins with housing and ends with housing. When they retire, they're supposed to live in comfortable houses. When they are in service, they're supposed to live in comfortable houses so that we will have the best out of them.
Some of the officers who spoke with us are very optimistic that this is the beginning of more welfare packages for them, and they also in turn are determined to serve their nation better. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
It has also been commendation galore for government over the efforts at repositioning rail services. Mohammed Lawal Baba reports that this is coming a week after Kaduna International Airport has done full international status, a situation that has led to a significant increase in the number of commuters that now patronize Kaduna-Abuja train service.
It is exactly 1 week after Kaduna Airport commenced full operations involving local and international flights. The Rigasa Railway Terminus is one of the platforms used by the Federal Ministry of Transport to convey air passengers from Kaduna to Abuja and vice versa. Passengers who spoke to NTA News commended the giant stride by the federal government, describing the initiative as laudable.
Very efficient, it's more comfortable, and above all, I'm also excited that railway workers are back to work.
I think they should be able to replicate this all over the country. It will reduce a lot of stress on our roads and save a lot of money because the carnage on our highways is simply unbearable.
But on the other hand, Hajia Aisha has a contrary opinion.
The government should make sure there is lifts at all the stations because people are suffering carrying luggages up the stairs.
Dr. Aminu Gusau is the Director, Administration and Human Resources, Nigerian Railway Corporation.
Well, as you can see, we are being very vibrant. We are now trying to show people that the rail system in Nigeria is now catching up in terms of modernity.
Traders and shop owners around the terminus express gratitude, saying the patronage has led to economic boom.
We appreciate what our governor and president did for us. We really appreciate it.
So many people are coming. We have new faces, new strange customers, but we thank God since we are meeting their need.
The arrangement of a train service for the passengers from the airport is made possible following the construction of a link road to the Rigasa railway station. In Kaduna, Muhammad Lawal Baba, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the federal government has been urged to keep up with its policies in the area of education, transportation and food security, as well as healthcare delivery. National Coordinator Buhari Friends Organization made the appeal during a press conference in Abuja. Serafina Okon has the details.
That we are happy to receive you. We are happy to receive you.
There wouldn't have been a better time than now for the Friends of Buhari Organization Network as they gathered to officially welcome home President Muhammadu Buhari from his vacation and medical treatment in London. The national coordinator of the organization, Atanasius Okon, says without God's involvement, good governance is elusive. He urged Nigerians and agents of change mantra across the country to continue to support President Muhammadu Buhari.
That Nigerians should keep hope alive, and for him, just give him a little time, a lot of things will happen, and I tell you, like he promised us, and we stand by that, that Nigeria will experience an exit of recession in 2017, and let us keep hope alive and be prayerful.
He also called on the government to abolish multiple taxation.
Welcome, Mr. President.
They have also come to say thank God for answering their prayers during the 8th Prayer Summit for President Muhammadu Buhari. Serafina Okon, NTA News.
The Federal Commissioner, National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, Sadia Umar Farouk, says government is working hard to ensure proper reintegration of internally displaced persons in the country. She stated this in Calabar during the flag-off exercise for the distribution of items to the Bakassi displaced people. Achibong Basi has more.
A total of 3,800 Bakassi indigenes, including women and children, have been displaced from their ancestral homes since 2008. Ajia Sadia Farouk, while stating that the Nigerian and Cameroonian governments and the United Nations have recently signed a tripartite agreement for the return and proper reintegration of Nigerians into the country, commended the state governor Ben Ayade's efforts at restoring hope to the displaced people of Bakassi through the construction of 5,000 housing units.
It's an agreement that will see to the protection and assistance of our nationals that are in Cameroon, and also the processes of their voluntary return back home. But for those that are willing to return, my cue is going to be voluntary return. Those that wish to return, they will return. Those that opt to stay in Cameroon, they will stay in Cameroon. So we're trying to profile them and see the numbers that want to come home and the ones that want to remain. So.
The Cross River State Governor, Ben Ayade, decried the agony the Bakassi people have endured in their ancestral homes with no source of livelihood. Describing the plight of the Bakassi IDPs as deplorable and totally unacceptable, the governor said the solution to the challenges facing the people does not lie in the distribution of relief materials alone, but to bring the true situation of the Bakassi people to the federal government for permanent solution.
The situation we find them is deplorable, totally unacceptable. Federal Commissioner, you will do me so much favor if you can densify the problem and bring it to the international platform. If you hear the story, you will not. But if you get to the scene, you will cry.
At the Palace of the Obong of Calabar, the Federal Commissioner thanked the Obong of Calabar for the care and concern shown to the Bakassi IDPs. The Obong of Calabar, His Eminence Edidem Ekpo Konobasio to the Fifth, said the issue of internally displaced persons, which is not only peculiar to the Bakassi people, is a great challenge to the kingdom.
It's an urgent situation that should be addressed. There are so many others that we try as much as possible to push, but it's beyond what we can do.
Former Senator, Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Florence Itagiwa, presented an insight report on the Bakassi people to the Federal Commissioner. The exercise is the first in the series of assistance to the IDPs in Calabar. Achibong Basi, NTA News.
We now join Jennifer in our Lagos Network Center for more stories. It's over to you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Femi. Good evening and welcome to Lagos. Justice Bukola Adebiyi of the Lagos State High Court, Ikeja, has sentenced to 15 years imprisonment Nkem Iheanacho, who allegedly killed his wife, Regina Iyang Njo, in February 2013. He was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter by the court. Tunde Saike reports.
Nkem Iheanacho has been standing trial for allegedly beating her wife, Regina, a mother of 3, to death on the 22nd of February 2013 at their residence, number 3, Calvary Street, Yanosashi, Lagos. The case, which had 40 sittings, was finally laid to rest with the sentence of Nkem Iheanacho to 15 years imprisonment, having been found guilty of the offense. Justice Bukola Adebiyi, in her judgment, noted that Section 237 of the Criminal Code of Lagos State stipulates a life sentence for somebody found guilty of involuntary manslaughter, but the same law was not categorical, and upon that ground, and others such as the fact that the accused had no previous criminal records, as well as consideration of the defendant's children, who are still minors and needed parenting. She therefore sentenced the accused to 15 years imprisonment. Counsel to the deceased wife's family, Silas Udo, described the sentence as worthwhile. He said this sentence will serve as a deterrent to others who engage in domestic violence.
The judgment is not, it does not matter whether it's life sentence or not. What is important is that Nkem Iheanacho is pronounced guilty of killing his wife. So I'm so grateful to the Honorable Justice Adebiyi, who stands on this cause of justice.
Family members of the late Regina Iyang Njo said with this judgment and sentence, the family will now get prepared for the burial of their sister, whose corpse has been in the mortuary for the past 3 years. In Lagos, Tunde Saiki, NTA News.
Still on legal matters, after 57 years of depending on colonial legal framework for regulation of the legal profession in Nigeria, the Nigerian Bar Association is set to examine the regulatory architecture of the legal profession in Nigeria to ensure conformity with modern-day realities. The NBA, through its Legal Profession Regulation Review Committee, held a one-day town hall meeting on the state of legal profession in Nigeria. Vera Chimuba has the details.
The move by the current NBA President Abubakar Mahmoud to pursue reform of the legal profession became imperative to restore public confidence, make the legal profession competitive and effective in the regulation of service delivery, improve the quality of justice and the rule of law. He said Nigeria needs strong institutions, which will start with strong legal profession, with rigorous framework for establishing professional standards if Nigeria is to confront the challenges of today.
The implementation of this thing will not be strictly in the hands of the Bar Association. So we are already in the process of talking to all the various stakeholders, including the National Assembly, to ensure that whatever we come up with will be effectively and swiftly implemented.
Chairman of the committee, Anthony Idigbe, expressed the hope that the outcome of the committee's work will create institutional framework for consistent regulation of the legal profession.
We are dispassionately examining the regulatory architecture of the profession with a view to recommending a review and reform of the system.
Among the terms of reference for the Legal Profession Regulation Review Committee are to examine the structure of the legal profession, identify its challenges and prospects. In Lagos, Vera Chimuba, NTA News.
Now to water. Lagos residents have been advised to desist from disobeying water regulations as well as setting up illegal water connections. The government says it will stop at nothing to ensure that defaulters are made to face the full wrath of the law. The Executive Secretary of the Lagos State Water Regulations Commission, Ahmed Abdullahi, gave the advice at a press briefing in Lagos. Nosa Usula reports.
The Executive Secretary of the Commission said it was time Lagos residents realized that the state is in the midst of a global water, sanitation and hygiene crisis, considering that nearly 10% of residents have no access to clean water.
We must regulate the sector to such an extent that water that is available for consumption meets the requirements of the Lagos State drinking water quality standard.
The coordinator, Lagos State Wastewater Management, and the Chief Executive Officer of the State Water Corporation both raised concerns over looming water, sanitation, and hygiene crisis in the country.
This water needs to be properly disposed of. Where it is not properly disposed of, then the danger is that the whole of the populace is exposed to waterborne diseases.
You see any contractor working in your area and you see that they are damaging the water line, please let us know so that we can get our people there quickly.
In 1993, the first World Water Day was designated by the United Nations General Assembly, and since, each year focuses on a different issue. In Lagos, Nusa Osula, NTA News.
Kinosa. Now, those are the stories at this hour from Lagos. Back to Femi in Abuja for more on Nationwide News. Femi, over to you.
Thank you, Jennifer. The Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors has appointed Danladi Mohammed Ndaibo as its new executive secretary. In a statement signed by the president of the institute, Mercy, Ndaibo's appointment, which is for a term of 4 years, takes immediate effect. Danladi Mohammed Ndaibo is a graduate of the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria with a postgraduate in mass communication from the same institution. Before his appointment, Ndaibo held various editorial positions in leadership newspapers, Director General and Chief Press Secretary to the Governor and Commissioner of Information in Niger State. Ndaibo has since assumed duties. To ensure decency in the practice of surveying at the state levels, chief resident surveyors have been posted to the 36 states with a mandate to take inventory of all landed property. The Surveyor General of the Federation gave the directive during a 2-day induction course for the resident surveyors in Abuja. Meogidi reports.
Lack of proper check on the topography before embarking on major projects in some states is said to be a contributory factor to flash flood and the challenges of accessibility in cities. These, among other reasons, informed the posting of these 36 chief resident surveyors who are going to partner with the lands and survey offices in the states to correct these anomalies. They are also tasked to develop maps for the states and highlight areas prone to either landslide, earth tremor, or other related issues for proactive action. For the Surveyor General of the Federation, Ebisinte Awudu, surveying has gone beyond just providing services, but generate revenue for the federal government.
This office should generate not less than 10 billion every year to the purse of the federal government. You and me can do it.
The chief resident surveyors are optimistic that with the needed collaboration from the respective states, the task can be delivered. Mayor Ogidi, NTA News.
Regulation of media practice in Nigeria and the adoption of peer review mechanism between the print and the broadcast have been advocated to achieve objective journalism and balanced reportage. Guest on NTA's Current Affairs program, Moment for Thought, made the suggestion.
Extent to which, as a president or as an elected public officer of the Federation, you will lose your all right to privacy. Where does freedom of, information about you starts and where does it end?
The laws against fake news need to be implemented.
Moment for Thought comes up tonight at 10:30 on NTA Network Service. And this is nationwide on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. Ruth is standing by now at Just Network Center for more reports. Ruth, take it away.
Hello, Femi. Good afternoon and welcome to JOS. Plateau State Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development says it has taken some measures to contain the recent attack of avian influenza, which affected 19 farmers in 4 local government areas with loss of over 62,000 birds. State Desk Officer, Avian Influenza, Dr. Haruna Ayuba, confirmed the outbreak to our crew in his office today. Ijoma Ozemina has more.
The recent cases of bird flu outbreak in Jos North, Jos South, Mangu and Basa local government areas was reported 3 days ago by the affected farmers. It was reported that the avian influenza has been a thorn in the flesh of the poultry industry, not only in the state but the country at large. Although the outbreak has raised fears among poultry farmers, Dr. Ayuba urged farmers to reinforce safety measures in their farms to avoid loss of investments.
Ability of farmers to give us precise dates or events. We usually have problem getting precise dates or how these things occur. But we are suspecting that that farm, she might have gotten her problem from maybe a service provider.
He also said lack of manpower and resources to carry out the contamination, depopulation and disinfection of affected farms have been a major challenge to the job. Some affected farmers recount their losses.
I noticed that some birds died in the farm, so I took 2 of them for PM, gave me drugs. And when they gave me drugs, I come back and administered the drugs to them. The next morning I came and I met about 40 birds dead.
They attributed widespread of this disease to non-payment of compensation by government to farmers affected by the outbreak in 2015. In Jos, Ijoma Ozemina, NTA News.
Good road network is said to be a good veritable means of boosting the nation's economy. In view of this, the Plateau State government is not relenting in its efforts to ensure the completion of road projects embarked on by previous administrations in the state. Felicia Dalio takes a look at the situation so far.
A total of 37 uncompleted roads were inherited by the present administration. Some of the roads, which include the Jos Maza Road, Mangu Gindri Road, Dokan Kaswa Road, Plateau University Road, and the Dental Clinic Plateau Hospital roads have been completed, while others are still ongoing.
I heard that the contractor was not on site. That's why I'm paying this surprise visit. We are very serious about what we give. If we are not serious with the work, you know what we will do. This is the last time I will take it.
Last year, 19 billion naira was allocated for roads construction and rehabilitation, while this year's budget allocated 16 billion naira, which the Commissioner for Works and Transport, Mr. Pam Dong, say, despite the lean resources, government has kept faith with its promise to the citizenry.
The level of work we want to commence will definitely be above the 16 billion. And probably we know that some of these projects will overlap to next year.
The Zarmaganda-Bukuru Expressway is also one of the roads under construction. It is said to be a federal intervention project, but has also received tremendous support from the Plateau State government. Driving around some of the construction sites, NTA News sought the opinion of road users.
I stay here. For me to come to my house, going home, I find it very hard. Because when I tell a bike man, federal locals, the bike man will like, no, I can't go. But now, when I tell a bike man, federal locals, you'll be very happy to take me home.
Rehabilitating this road is of great relief to motorists and commuters alike, as before now, plying this road was a nightmare to many. In Jos, Felicia Dalio, NTA News.
And that's all from Jos. Femi, it's back to you for the rest of the news nationwide.
Thank you, Ruth. Federal and state governments have set up modalities that will aid accessing $4.5 million Chinese intervention fund. But before we go to that report, let us also reveal to you that Kwara State Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed has signed the state 2017 budget of over 160 billion naira into law. Abdul Hafiz Alaya reports. While looking forward to that report, let's also go back to that report where I said the federal and state governments have set up modalities that will aid accessing $4.5 million Chinese intervention fund. The loan is to enhance agricultural activities in the country through mechanization and supply of heavy-duty equipment. Musa Babaliu has details.
24 states and the FCT are to benefit from the $4.5 billion Chinese loan, which will be disbursed in 3 phases. Heavy-duty equipment are to be disbursed to the benefiting states in lieu of the amount requested. Interest on the loan, quality and specification of the equipment to be supplied under the agreement are the concerns of the state governments.
Tractors are designed for specific ecosystems, and in order for us to be able to satisfy the needs of our states and our farmers, we have to bear in mind we have to know what we are looking for.
So we set up a technical committee of some engineers to look into that and advise the governments appropriately, both at national and the state levels.
The Chinese government has agreed to provide market for all the agricultural produce from states to aid the payment of the loan.
China import millions, hundreds of, millions of tons of cooking oil, soybeans. So actually you'll be going up the value chain. If you, instead of just selling soybeans, you can use your budget, because your budget is open to importing all kinds of machineries.
In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
The British government has indicated interest to invest in the abundant solid mineral deposit and agricultural potential in Nasarawa State. British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Paul Thomas, said this in Lafia when he met with the state governor, Umaru Tanko Al-Makura. Joshua Ojito has the details.
The visit of the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Paul Thomas, occurred to Nasarawa State, which is the first, is to explore these areas of investment opportunities for the benefit of both British and Nasarawa State governments. He revealed that British investors are willing to take advantage of the abundant solid minerals deposit in the state, particularly coal for power generation and job creation. Other areas of interest by the British government include primary health care, women empowerment and education, which the British High Commissioner assured Nasarawa State government of support.
The future of this country is about opportunity, it's about finding jobs for the youth, it's about education, it's about ensuring that women and girls are empowered.
State Governor Umaru Tanko Al-Makura said the state government is ready to provide tax holiday to any investors willing to invest in the solid mineral subsector.
We have close to about 60 different kinds of solid minerals and a substantial number of them of commercial quantity.
Before departing Nasarawa State, the British High Commissioner to Nigeria inspected facilities at the newly constructed Lafia Special School, where he was impressed with the state government all-inclusive policy on education, especially for the people living with disabilities. In Lafia, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Beneficiaries of Skills Acquisition Program under the Women and Youth Empowerment Scheme in Taraba State have expressed readiness to create wealth and jobs. About 300 were presented with machines and equipment. Joshua Sando, Hudson reports.
Bulk of the federal allocations to Taraba State is said to be used for the payment of salaries of civil servants, rather than the execution of capital projects. The state government is not happy about this and wants to engage many in entrepreneurship so that they will be self-reliant.
The 360 persons who formed the first batch of the scheme under the Women and Youth Empowerment Program of the state government were selected from 168 electoral wards of the state. They were trained in 10 different skills, including the making of soaps, shoes, traditional attires, hairdressing, food processing, tailoring, welding, carpentry, wood carving, and computer appreciation for a period of 3 months.
The next step now is for me to go on and start my own factory as a shoemaking personnel.
Governor Darius Dixon Ishaku presented startup packs of machines and equipment such as sewing machines, computers, generators, and other materials to the trainees for free.
I'm of a strong conviction that things that our women and youth can leverage on for self-sustenance are right here at our backyards. I also believe that our culture is one area where we can turn to for the promotion of our traditional values and also as a means of generating income for our well-being.
The state government rescue watch team, made up of advisors and assistants to the governor anchored the scheme. The head of the team, who is the Chief of Staff Government House Administration, Rebosman, said the trainees were allowed to choose skills of interest and the trainers were carefully picked from their quality of antecedents.
Every beneficiary of this scheme will sign an undertaking which has been carefully drafted by the Ministry of Justice to the effect that the machines and equipment being collected today will be used to set up the ventures in line with the government scheme and that these items shall not be sold.
The program the state government maintained will be run periodically throughout the tenure of the administration. In Jalingo, Joseph Sound Oten, NTA News.
And you can watch this news online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store, which when you use devices with iOS. Nationwide will be back, but just after this time out. Don't go away.
Change does not just happen. You and I and all of us must appreciate that we all have our part to play if we want to bring change about. We must change our lawless habits, our attitude to public office, and public trust. We must change our unruly behavior in schools, hospitals, marketplaces, motor parks, on the roads, in homes and offices. To bring about change, we must change ourselves by being law-abiding citizens.
Does it make common sense to you to be unhappy the morning right after the night you were happy? Did your elders teach you that wisdom is captured in these 3 sentences? Make money, spend money, have no money.
How can you ask a man to spend 18 million on marrying you when I can use that same amount to marry an entire community?
If we spend the money, 18 million, know that the man is a thief.
What do you think?
My thinking machine is having problems.
That is what you do when you put all you have into a party to impress those who may not even afford to spend like that.
See, I'm planning a birthday bash with a sum of 2 million naira.
Expensive ceremonies. It's another funny and educative episode of your rib-cracking comedy, Professor John Bull, showing at 8:30 p.m. every Tuesday and Friday on NTA Network International and Star Times.
Over and out.
Brought to you by Glow.
Welcome to the new speed of life.
It's finally here. The most anticipated sports show on live television, featuring great sports icons, from ex-internationals to famed journalists and administrators. It doesn't come bigger than the Sports Parliament, which premieres live on the NTA network this Thursday from 11 p.m. till 12 midnight. Be a part of the biggest sports talk show on television to help chart a successful path for Nigerian sports. 11 p.m. to midnight on Thursday on the NTA. Sports Parliament, where the eggheads converge.
NTA Television College, an affiliate of Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, a specialized institution charged to provide quality professional education in television production, engineering, and journalism. The college is offering 4 weeks course on principles and practice of marketing for marketing heads in radios and television houses, public relation agencies, media heads in advertising, brand support managers, media brokers, and heads of corporate affairs. Date 20th of March to 14th April 2017. Registration 100,000 naira with accommodation. Course will take place at NTA Television College Rayfield Jos. For more inquiries, call 08069809807 or call 07036607155 or email us at ntacollege@gmail.com. NTA Television College, training you to be the best you want to be.
In season 2, we met Hannah in Akrapo, a 6-year-old whose heart condition was preventing her from leading a normal life.
The problem is so dangerous for my daughter.
We revisit her 9 months after her life-changing operation. And for young orphan Taiwo Simbiat, life with her grandmother is hard.
The day I got to their house, she was lying down there.
She was virtually bedridden.
And without immediate intervention, her future looks bleak.
Hot Sports cranks up the heat this Saturday with fresh sports news and incisive analysis, backed by exciting visuals. Hot Sports, your unique source of sport information, education and entertainment, inimitably delivered via hot, scorching argument where no one blinks. Don't miss it.
You are still on to the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority, and this is NTA Nationwide. Enugu House of Assembly and the police partner on crime-free society. These and other stories now as we join Ngozi in our Enugu Network Center. Take it away, Ngozi.
Hello, Femi, and welcome to Enugu. The House of Representatives Committee on Federal Roads Maintenance Agency has advised contractors handling FEMA projects in the Southeast Zone to be proactive and work according to specifications. A member of a committee, Bid Eke, gave the advice during the committee's oversight function to Enugu. Ifomando Koli reports.
Projects inspected by the committee include the ongoing maintenance and repairs of Udi Ozala, Nara, Nkerefi, Ebonyi State Border Road, the failed sections along Old Night Mile, Opinsuka Road, among others. The committee had on-the-spot assessment of the work being done, as well as interviewed the contractors handling some of the projects. They expressed dissatisfaction with the quality of work done by some of the contractors and urged the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA, to beef up their supervisory function to enable the contractors work according to specifications.
But I want to encourage FEMA to increase their level of inspection over these projects. It will help us because we want to have value for money. When we said when we budget 1 naira for any project, we expect to have value for that 1 naira.
The projects which were awarded on November 2016 are expected to be completed by May this year. In Enugu, Ifoma Nduokoli, NTA News.
Educational infrastructure is a bedrock of societal development. In Enugu State, efforts are being made to develop the educational infrastructure so as to ensure a healthier environment for the training of the future leaders. Chair Gono Arrow went round some educational facilities in the state and now reports.
That's how far we can go with Enugu. We now let you know that a well-equipped library has been identified as pivotal to information in capacity building. This was at a donation of books to the National Defense College at the instance of the Commandant, Rear Admiral Samuel Alade in Abuja. Olajide Bello reports.
The books donated to the National Defense College Library cuts across all spheres of human endeavor, ranging from law, fundamental rights and enforcement, federal legislative powers, and papers on democracy. Despite the advent of information and communication technology giving rise to digitization in the various sectors, the donors stressed the need for access to a good library with a wide collection of books.
Consequently, it is my pleasure to add to the large collection of the National Defense College, Nigeria, in honor of my cousin, Rear Admiral Samuel Sami Alade.
Books as a source of stories are essential as part of early education. If a child catches on to reading when young, he or she will enjoy reading throughout his life.
They emphasize the importance of reading books, describing it as a source of inspiration, ideas, history, and finding facts. The Commandant, National Defense College, Rear Admiral Samuel Alade, lauded the gesture, describing it as a plus in equipping the college library.
We have had several book donations in the past by very distinguished personalities and organizations. But this one is particularly unique because of the large number
The donation of books to the National Defense College will no doubt increase its knowledge base, and it will be a useful tool for participants. In Abuja, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
From Olajide, we move to Makurdi, where Susan is standing by to tell us more about the low patronage in banks. Susan, it's over to you.
Thank you, Femi, and welcome to Makurdi. Towards wealth creation and poverty reduction, the National Social Safety Net's Coordinating Office has organized a 3-day training exercise in Makurdi, the Benue State capital. Comfort Amodu reports that participants were drawn from 9 local government areas of the state.
The federal government, over time in its effort to eradicate poverty in the country, had established several schemes and programs such as Fadama and Shopi, among others, to tackle poverty at all levels. It is to address these shortcomings that the federal government established the National Social Safety Net Coordinating Office, NASCO, under the Office of the Vice President to build mechanism towards the creation of National Social Register of the poor and vulnerable in the society.
Empowering of the poor such that they can go into small and medium-scale industries of their own. And that has been put together by way of soft loans that will be provided by the Bank of Industry and the Bank of Agriculture.
The National Coordinator NASCO, Peter Papka, said the government is targeting 1 million households at the end of this budget year.
Community-based targeting teams have been selected in each of the phase 1, 30% selected, local government areas spread according to these territorial zones.
The social safety training process featured review and presentation of issues with past social intervention programs, features of poverty and vulnerability in Nigeria, among others. In Makurdi, Comfort Amodu, NTA News.
Operators of various business activities along the banks of the River Benue have lamented a decline in the level of patronage. Blessing Omeche Ebute has the situation report.
The River Benue, which is the second largest river in the country, has continued to serve various purposes, which include water supply, fishing, transportation, and other business opportunities. Economic activities, especially sand excavation, usually witness a boom during the dry season when the water level has receded. The case was, however, not the same as at the time NTA News visited the riverbank. At the river port, where passengers board boats to various destinations, only a few passengers were on ground.
Like our boat, there's no road. It's one of the challenges we are having. And we cannot do anything because of the crisis down. All of our people, they are stranded.
Chairman, Sand and Gravel Excavation Association, Hamisu Yusuf, complained of low business activities. He attributes the low turnout to weak purchasing power of customers, adding that the receding of the water level makes it difficult for the movement of boats to excavate certain types of sand. Other activities which hitherto thrives along the river bank, such as fishing, dry season farming, among others, were ongoing. In Makurdi, Blessing Omeche Ebute, NTA News.
And that's our package from Makurdi. It's over to Femi in Abuja for more on NTA Nationwide.
Thank you, Susan. Moroccan King replaces Prime Minister as Queen Elizabeth gives go-ahead for Brexit bill. These are more on Global Tidbits as we join Talatu Ezerike.
King Mohammed VI of Morocco has announced his replacement of the country's prime minister following a failure to form a coalition government. A statement from the royal palace says the move is to break the current political deadlock. Similarly, Ghanaian government defended itself against accusations of running an elephant-sized government after new appointment raised the number to 110. From Sierra Leone, a clergy has discovered one of the world's largest uncut diamonds. Also, Queen Elizabeth has given royal endorsement to the Brexit bill, clearing the way for Prime Minister Theresa May to start talks to leave the European Union. And a letter bomb exploded at IMF office in Paris, injuring the employee who opened it. This comes as Germany's finance ministry